Welcome to Psychic Development and Channeling class. I'm Liah Howard, and today we are having class number 20. It will be on becoming an ethical psychic practitioner. We'll be looking at a lot of different areas of ethics, everything from values and morals to conduct and how you behave with booking appointments and relationship with clients and so on. Before we do that, we're going to do a quick review of our homework. Last week we had a class that was on internet marketing and social media. So part of the homework was about getting some of that going. First we're going to answer a couple of questions, then we'll do a guided meditation, and then we will have our homework assignment. Even though it's the last class of this series, it's ongoing. The practice is just ongoing. So part of your homework was to open 3 social media accounts. I'm hoping that you did that. And to develop an internet marketing plan for your business. Also to create an About Me page, and if you already have a website and social media going, that you can connect that to your website and social media. And to continue practice doing readings. Remember, that's how you get better and better and better the more that you do them. And begin building a website or update your old site. So I did receive a few comments and questions this week, and I picked 2 for our seminar today. I've started building my website, and I'm wondering if I need to have an email sign up on the home page. Actually, that's one of the most important things you can do, is to have an email sign up right on the home page, because what you're wanting to do is to build your email list so that you can send out announcements, you can send out specials and coupons, you can stay in touch with your clients, and you can keep a very interactive presence with them. So yes, I would say that really needs to go right on the front page. I did include an example of a more modern website so that you could see how you could include that. Sometimes you can even offer a special. If you sign up on my newsletter today, you will get 1 free question, you will get an article and magazine, something of that nature, that you're actually offering them something. Okay, number 2, I want to do a mass email marketing. Good, that's good. And I only have 100 names. 100 names is a really good start. That's excellent. That means you've been taking the people that you've been doing readings for. You've asked them. I always ask people, is it okay if I put your name on my mailing list? And then you're saying, do you suggest that I buy a list? Actually, what I would recommend is, instead of actually buying a list, you have your 100, and there's different mailing companies that are out there that instead of you buying their list, you pay them a fee, and then they send it out to 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 people, and it covers a very large group of people, and usually it's people that are already interested in what you have to offer, sort of the metaphysical field. So that would be the direction that I would head you, kind of point you in that direction at this point, and keep building your email list. When you go places, when you do seminars, when you do psychic fairs, get your email list going and just keep adding to it. So today is about being a responsible and ethical, conscientious psychic practitioner. Unlike other professions where the counselor, therapist, professional consultant is bound by certain rules of conduct, and they could lose a license if they don't abide by those codes of conduct, psychics in most countries are usually unsupervised or held accountable to any governing body. So keeping that in mind, there are a lot of people out there that are practicing that probably shouldn't be practicing, that aren't really qualified, and that some of them are only doing it to make money rather than to actually really serve the public. So therefore, the psychics themselves must hold a very high code of ethics and morals and perform their readings with integrity, truth, and love. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. How can we be the very best psychics that we can be? Hold a very high bar so that this whole field of psychics, healers, metaphysicians can come into a more respected place in society. And when you go to rent an office, they're like, oh, they're excited to have a psychic in their building. Or when you want to do a radio show, they're excited to have a psychic on their radio program. So we do it a little bit at a time, just by each one of us being as conscientious and as full of integrity as we can. Here's the Dalai Lama, and he says, our prime purpose in this life is to help others. And if you can't help them, at least don't harm them or don't hurt them. A lot of people have been to psychics and they were hurt. They were frightened. They were confused. They ended up getting a session that really turned them off to psychics. And you may be dealing with some of these clients. They're coming to you. They're finally trying again after a period of time. And hopefully you will never be one of those psychics that causes harm in any way out in the world. But the way that you share your answers is a way of love and tenderness. And the way that you treat your clients is with respect and dignity. We're going to be talking about those things today as well. So since there are no official rules and regulations for psychic practitioners in the United States that I could find, although in some areas they do need to have a license to practice. That's more for tax purposes usually. But there are regulatory bodies in other countries. So some of these countries are actually acknowledging psychics, and sort of similar to what happened with massage therapists, that anybody used to be able to be a massage therapist. And then they said, no, you have to take a certain number of hours of training. You have to have an exam, practical exam, written exam, to see if you really know about the anatomy of the body and how to give a massage. So that changed the whole world of massage therapy. That's beginning to happen with psychics as well. But first, in other countries, England, Ireland, and Australia are already working on some of these regulatory bodies, and some of the rules are pretty strict. So we're going to be looking at how can we, because we don't in the United States yet have these rules, sort of hold that high bar to ourselves. So the qualifications of a good psychic: many psychics are self-taught, and they're taught by their guides and don't have specific degrees or credentials to certify them, although they may be excellent psychics. So this is an interesting area. It's not like you can just go to a psychic university, although there are psychic universities, there are psychic schools, there's psychic communities. But in general, people have a calling. They're called to do this work. It's usually from a very, very young age. They've been extra sensitive. They may have developed this skill and ability in many, many other lifetimes. And they came in with their third eye somewhat open, and then they have augmented that through classes, through meditation, through different techniques. So I'm not going to say that somebody needs to have a certificate. That's not the way that I developed, although I did study with a number of different teachers. Once I established a really close relationship with my council of guides, they were my main teachers. They still are my main teachers. They teach me about being unconditionally loving and seeing things from a larger perspective. So, but we have to keep this in mind that, on the other hand, there are psychics who are practicing who have not been adequately trained and who do not have a pure motivation and intent for doing readings, and who can do harm to clients. And this is unethical and unfortunate, but again, that's why we're doing this class today, so you can see how you can be the very best psychic you can be, and that you will build a good, positive reputation in your community and in the world at large. Certain psychic schools and programs have specific guidelines for their graduates to follow. Back in the 70s, I went to the Berkeley Psychic Institute. They have a very well-formatted way of doing the classes. This class builds on this class. You finish this one, you do this one, and exercises and a system. It's a system, really. Barbara Brennan School of Healing, they have a system of healing and of work. Lilydale and Casadega are both spiritualist communities, and they have classes that they offer that build one on the other on the other. So there definitely is training, and if you would like to find that, you can certainly follow through with some of these suggestions that I've given. So there are also many private psychic teachers who offer quality training as well. And I think, of course, the one-on-one is a wonderful way to train. I also do small groups, and I do groups of 10, as well as this internet training. So if you're really ready to develop your skills, I would say certainly you can do this course, you can do other online courses, and you could find a real mentor, a teacher that you could work with either through Skype or in person to kind of work out some of those other little details as well. So it has to be somebody that you trust and who's living what I consider to be a virtuous life and what you consider to be a virtuous life. In other words, they're modeling the qualities that you would like to see brought out in the world as a psychic. So here's the dictionary definition of ethics. It's a set of moral principles and values, the branch of philosophy that deals with values pertaining to human conduct. such as good and bad or right and wrong actions and motives, and moral philosophy. That's from the Wordsmith Online Dictionary. Now keep in mind that as psychics, because we're not working with certain set rules and regulations, there has to be a higher calling. Almost the ethics of your soul is what I would call it. These are the values of an ethical psychic practitioner: kindness, compassion, sincerity, honesty. And these first four, kindness, compassion, sincerity, and honesty, those are from the Dalai Lama as well. That this is one of the things that he teaches. Doesn't matter how much religion you have if you're not living kindness, compassion, sincerity, and honesty. Also confidentiality, trust, responsibility, integrity, accountability, morality, respect, and congruency. We are going to be looking at each of these today and doing a little bit more discussion about them. Kindness. This is the bow. You know, when you put your hands over your heart and you bow, namaste. The highest in me acknowledges and bows to the highest in you. Certainly with the people that you're working with, whether you're working as a writer for a magazine or a book company, whether you're working at a radio station, television station, or whether you're just doing private readings, you want to show respect and kindness towards the people that you're working with so that you're actually demonstrating. Sort of similar to if somebody is a school guidance counselor and you see them at the park and they're screaming at their child, you'd think, what kind of guidance counselor are they? I mean, they don't seem very patient, tolerant, and loving. It's kind of like that with psychics. If you can be patient, tolerant, and loving with people in your immediate life, then you're going to be more patient, tolerant, and loving with your clients as well. And that's a really good example for what you're teaching. So the kindness wave. Start a ripple, create a wave, and it begins with you. So kindness is really important. You will have a lot of different, the more you market and the more you put yourself out there, the more people will call from farther and farther away, so you get less personal. Initially, word of mouth is the very, very best, and it's probably always going to be the very, very best advertising, but as you advertise more on the internet, you will get people from farther and farther away who don't have a direct link from somebody that you've done a reading for or somebody that you know. And so you may get people that are perhaps a little harsher in their energy field than what you're used to dealing with when you're dealing with a smaller, more inclusive type of client. So you have to show them the kindness. Compassion. This is Mother Teresa. You want to see the purest, most innocent part of your clients and hold them tenderly in your heart, that when somebody comes for a psychic reading, they're usually at a place of making a very, very important decision, or sometimes many important decisions in their lives. They may be considering whether they need to go get some health tests, or they may need to decide if they should stay with a job or move to a new location, or they're questioning their marriage, or they're wondering about the well-being of their child. So when you hold compassion in your heart for whatever it is that's bothering them, and you may say, oh, they have so much money, why are they worrying about this? That's not compassion. Compassion is taking whatever the situation is that they're having into your heart and holding them in that. See Mother Teresa holding that baby like a pure, pure being, seeing the highest and the best. That's what you want to do for each and every one of your clients. And if you can't, refer that client out to somebody else. If there's somebody that you find is very sort of like sandpaper against you and it just doesn't feel like a good match, don't take them as a client. Refer them to somebody else that they will be more harmonious with. Take clients that you are going to enjoy working with, that feel like a good match for you. Sincerity. Mean what you say. Sincerity reveals your true self. What is the motivation? I think when we're looking at sincerity, it wouldn't be complete talking about it without really looking at what is the motivation behind what you're doing. Are you doing readings because you really, really want to serve and help humanity? Or are you doing readings because you're trying to get out of working at a bank and you found out that that's a good way to make some money? So there's a way that you have to really connect in and do what's really sincerely in the highest and best interest. Honesty. A no uttered from the deepest conviction is better than a yes merely uttered to please. Or worse, to avoid trouble. So when we say no and we really mean it, it's good. And you may need to say no to some clients. It may just not really be an appropriate match for you. And other people may need to, it might not be quite the right timing for them to get a session. So it's an important thing. Don't say you're going to do a reading for someone if you're not really feeling good about it. Make sure that it feels like it's, again, a good match. An ethical life is built of integrity, honesty, kindness, decency, and belief in truth, justice, honor, respect, love together to make life better, and compassion. So these are the aspects. And honesty is being honest with yourself, being honest with your clients. If you've already done too many readings that week and you're really wiped out, don't squeeze another one in just because the person seems really desperate. If you can't really give your all to that session, if you can't really give that client your best reading, refer them to somebody else. Confidentiality. This is most important. To me, this is what makes the difference between somebody who's just sort of hung up a shingle and isn't really honoring the sacredness of the work, and somebody who takes this work deep in their heart and knows that it is an honor to be a psychic and to help people. When people come for a reading, they're sharing, they're opening, they're letting down their veils, and it's your job as the psychic to hold them in a place of safety. I like to envision a bubble of light around both of us, and that everything that's said there stays there. So they can feel that they need to share, ask whatever they need to ask, and it's going to be safe. Especially, not sharing that somebody has come to you for a reading. When I go out, if I see a client, I let them say hello to me first. I'm not going to just intrude and say, hi, because I want them to know that when they come to me, because some people, they may have a husband or a friend who would not want them to know that they came to a psychic for a session. So let them come to you, and remember to zip any kind of communication that way. Trust. And then we have see through the eyes of love, no judgment. We have hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. The reason I put that there is because as the psychic, you're the one who is there to help this person to experience whatever they are going through, whatever limitation, whatever fear, whatever concern that they have, that you can help them to see it instead of through this fearful place of, oh no, or I can't see this, or I can't hear this, or I can't speak this. It's safe to speak their truth. It's safe for them to look at what's going on, and you're going to help them to see it through the eyes of love. You're going to help them to see it more what I call through the eyes of their soul. Because when we're working with our higher self, our guides, and our angels, they offer us a much more expanded perspective so that those issues that the person is dealing with. Let's take an example. For example, a woman comes and she's been married to a man for 25 years and she really loves him, but she just connected with another individual who she feels is her soulmate, and she's horribly embarrassed. She's horribly ashamed that her heart is feeling the love for this other individual. And it doesn't fit in with society, and it doesn't have, in terms of good and bad and right and wrong and judgment. But on a soul level, what I have found is our souls don't judge us and would not judge that woman. Love is love. And they would ask to look at what is the highest and best interpretation of what that is and where she needs to go with that. It doesn't necessarily mean she needs to leave her husband and go with this person. It doesn't necessarily mean she needs to do the opposite. It just means that they're going to look at it from a higher perspective to see, why is this connection happening? What are the gifts and the lessons included in it? And so that's where they're giving you their trust. They're trusting you to help them to see things from a different perspective. And we have to really honor that. And that's where they're trusting us to be the best psychic we can be. They're coming to you because they heard good things. They're coming to you because they trust that you have accurate information. They're coming to you because they feel that you can help them make positive, better choices than they might make on their own in this situation, because maybe they're a little biased or they're a little emotional. responsibility. You are responsible for the talent that has been entrusted to you. If you're working as a psychic or you plan to work as a psychic, you've been given a gift, and that gift is very sacred and very, very precious. And it is for you to protect that gift, to really work at taking care of yourself, taking care of your body, taking care of your emotions, taking care of your environment, so that you can do the very, very best reading that you can do. And you see this woman holding in her hands, holding the globe. The world needs your light and to hold the highest vibration possible. If we each did that and held our light in our hearts, the whole world, that light would go out, and you would help maybe 10 people this week, maybe 20 people next week, who knows? And each of those people would help someone else. And that's how we enlighten the world. One person at a time, one session at a time, helping to bring more light. And the whole world changes. Integrity. Integrity is, saying and thinking, it's that relationship of being in tune, believing and feeling and doing and acting. It's choosing your thoughts and actions based on values rather than personal gain. It's really important. It's adherence to moral principles. But integrity is really, it's a sense of doing what's right and taking the high road, regardless of what's going on around you. If you're at a psychic fair and the psychic next to you has gone to lunch and you see a few people at her booth, instead of saying, hey, come on over here, I can do those readings for you, be a friend to your fellow psychic. Say, she's going to be back in 10 minutes. Her lunch is almost over. If you really want to see her, believe me, it will all come back around to you. Try to remember that on one level, we're all one. If somebody goes to her instead of to you, that's fine. Your angels and guides are working with you on bringing you just the right clients at just the right time. And you don't have to scramble to get clients. Especially in this field, it doesn't have to be competitive like that. Here's a quote from Oprah Winfrey, and she says, accountability. Real integrity is doing the right thing, knowing that nobody's going to know whether you did it or not. So the feeling with that is that you're listening in your heart, and sort of that I could do this or I could do that, the two voices, that you're choosing the one that's more loving, that's more honest and good. Morality. That's, again, morality is often based on good and bad, right and wrong, duty and expectation. And the more conscious we get, the more that we grow, the more that we meditate, the more that we do this work, the more that we open to our higher selves, we're actually called to a higher level of morality. So some of the behaviors that you may have done 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 1 year ago, may not be appropriate for you now, and especially in your psychic work. So this is where you really, really have to pay attention to what truly feels is in alignment with your soul. Respect. Give it to get it. You must respect your clients, that even though they're coming to you because they have issues or problems, some of them in some ways may be older souls than you. They may be more highly evolved than you, but they're just having a blind spot. We all get blind spots at some times. So we want to respect each individual for being a holy child of God, if you would, and honoring the highest and best in them, whether they're remembering it or not. I have done so many readings, and I've seen people come in tearful, shaking, depressed, upset, and at the end of the session I look at them and there's this light that is shining and this smile that is filling their face, and they just forgot. They just got wrapped up in the third dimensional reality. They forgot about their interdimensional highest self being, and that everything's going to be okay, whether they see it or not, whether they know it or not. And that's kind of what we do as psychics, is we help them to see how the mire that they're in or the maze that they're in has a doorway, has an out, and what that is and how to get there, and maybe some tools that they can develop to make their life more fulfilling and more in line with their highest dreams. So you want to respect each and every person that comes. Congruency, this is really about walking your talk. You know, be the living demonstration of love and light in your life. Do you walk your talk? And I've mentioned this at other times, but imagine that there's a video camera and it's watching you. And are you practicing what you're teaching your clients? If you say to your client, I want you to be on time, I start on time and I end on time, are you showing up on time? Are you being professional? Are you dressing professionally? Are you handling the CD or the recording professionally? Are you getting it out to them professionally? Are you holding their information in confidence? So really, are you being the professional that you're presenting yourself as? And if you're not, you'll know it because your clients will start dropping off and you won't get the positive feedback. So you really want to watch yourself. It's about really looking in the mirror and seeing, am I being accountable, responsible, honest, in integrity, all of these things. The golden rule. The golden rule is treat others the way you want to be treated. Very simple. It's a very old rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Keep this in mind when booking an appointment. So there are many, many times when somebody calls you that you may not be the very, very, very best psychic for them in that moment. And you're going to have to really tune in to use your higher vision to feel if they are going to most benefit from this session with you. And probably most of the time they will. It's only a very tiny, tiny, tiny small percentage of people that call that you probably need to refer out. But I'm going to be talking about that today because when you do a reading for somebody and you're not really getting a big yes on doing it, that's sometimes when negative things can happen. So we want to make sure that we're getting a yes. So we want to align with the higher values. And I put in this picture of these beautiful guides and angels and the feeling of they're watching over you. They're actually holding you in love and light, sending their love and light, and they're helping to do this transmission of love. So the psychic practitioner must consider the highest and best interest of the prospective client when booking a session and assess if they are a good match and if the timing is right. Sometimes the person is really, really desperate for a reading, and I get very clear guidance, do not do this reading today. They are too anxious about it and they're not going to be available to really receive the information. So I may say to them, you know, I have an appointment 3 days from now, Monday. So if it's a Friday, I might say I have an appointment Monday morning at 10:30, and that feels like the right time for me. And if they can't wait until Monday, then I'm happy to give them the name of another therapist rather than doing a session that afternoon when it doesn't feel right for me. It might be cramming my schedule, or it might be that they're so stressed that I feel like they're not even going to be able to relax. Now, the good news is that on some level, if something is really for my highest and best interest, it will be for their highest and best interest too. So, for example, if I say I have an appointment Monday at 10:30, sometimes some amazing things happen over the weekend, and that person is more ready and peaceful, and some of the issues that they were so frightened about or so upset about kind of work themselves out in a way that then they could ask the deeper questions instead of the band-aid questions. There are soul questions, and then there's sort of ego questions, and those ego questions are more, how can I quick put a band-aid on this? So that's also a consideration. As I said, life regression. Do you do that? They said, I really, really want to get a past life regression. And I said, well, you know, that is something that I do, but I know someone who that's all that they do is they do past life regressions and they do between life regressions. And I feel like that might be a better match for you. If you want to come back to me at another time and you have 12 questions about any area of life, I'm happy to help you with that. I could have done it, but I felt like that I wanted to pass that on to the person who actually really specializes in the past life regression. Same thing, if somebody calls me and they say, can you do a psychic healing? I'm having a pain in the back of my neck. Yes, I can do that. Do I specialize in that? No, I don't. I specialize in doing channeled readings, giving lots of specific information about details of the person's life for decision-making purposes and for looking at bringing their soul's path forward. So I always keep a list of other practitioners right near me or on my phone, and I refer out. I refer out for psychic healings, for past life regressions. If somebody wants palmistry or tarot, and I don't do that. If they want a party and there's going to be alcohol and I don't do readings at a party with alcohol, I refer out. So I make sure that it's a good match. When that person comes to me, they feel good about it and I feel good about it. So potential clients may need to be referred for outside services if they are mentally unstable. For example, if the client is suicidal, they may need immediate psychiatric assistance and not just a psychic reading. They may actually need to have some kind of an intervention. So there's certain questions that you can ask them. Well, have you thought about suicide? Have you thought about how you might do it? You know, if they say they're really, really depressed and they need a reading and you're sensing that this is bigger. This isn't just a normal depression that they're going to pass through. Sometimes you will still do the reading for them. Other times you won't. You'll just refer them out and they'll find some help in other ways. So you have to use your code of ethics there. What's really the highest and best? Don't just take a client because you pick up the phone and they call you. Feel inside. Ask your angels. Ask your guides. Is this a match? Is this in my highest and best interest and the highest and best interest of this client for me to do this session? Okay? Sometimes you'll have clients call and your fee will be more than what they expected or more than what they can budget. So your fee for the session may not match what the client can afford. Now, if this is the case, there's a few different things you can do. You can refer them to another psychic who charges less. So I often will refer a client to one of my very, very advanced students who's doing their own practice, who's out there in the world, who charges less than I charge, who I think they're going to get a very, very good reading from. If they don't have, if I can feel that they're sort of hemming and hawing and they're sort of surprised at the cost, then I say to them, you know, I know someone else. And I usually give them the names of 3 other people so that they can choose who to call, 3 people that I trust. So I would say it's good for each of you to get a list of other practitioners that you can refer out who charge a different amount or less than you. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can do a sliding fee scale, and you have to see what's comfortable for you. If you have a sliding fee scale for single mothers, or a sliding fee scale for college students, or a sliding fee scale for elderly, or maybe you have a sliding fee scale in general based on what they make. Whatever works best for you, you have to really be in tune with what feels like a yes. Not that you're just saying yes because you feel like you should, but it feels like it's the right thing. Then the other thing, in Maui, we do a lot of what's called energy exchange. And energy is exchanged. It's usually called a fair energy exchange, where if you're going to do a reading for somebody, perhaps they're going to do some gardening for you, or they're going to do some computer work for you, or something that you need so that it feels like you're really benefiting and it feels like they're really benefiting. And then you work out, is it an hour by hour exchange? Is it you know, if they charge $25 an hour to garden and you charge $200 for a reading, how many hours do you get in relation to how much you're giving? And you have to work out all these details so it feels harmonious. So if you're going to do an energy exchange, make sure that the energy exchange feels harmonious. And you see this girl standing there like with her hands, no. This is a tough one. I mean, we're in the material world. We are here. Part of what we're doing is to make money, to pay our bills, to buy our food, and things of that nature. However, there may be people who call you who are what I call psychic addicts. They call, and all they do all day long is they go to psychic after psychic after psychic after psychic. They have an issue, and they're getting lots and lots of different opinions. So if you get somebody who calls you and they say, you know, I've already talked to 4 different psychics about this, but I just want to get your opinion, Really tune into your heart and feel, is it in this person's highest and best interest for me to do a session for them at this time? And then remember the body pendulum. You can either get a yes where your body goes forward and back, you get a no, or you'll get one of those other, you can do the using the fingers to get the yes or no, or you can see the stoplight yes or no, or you'll just get a feeling of yes or no if this isn't the right thing. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Don't do it. If it feels like you could be just the psychic that they need, that they may have gotten misinformation, or you know, perhaps you've heard who they went to and you thought, well, yeah, I had heard some things about that psychic. Maybe they really do need a reading. So feel inside and always ask your guides and angels for the highest and best for that individual. But don't just do it because it's money. Please don't ever just do a reading because it's money. And now a client may become overly dependent on you and on your sessions and get so that they are completely unable to make their own decisions. This is not a good state of affairs. As a professional psychic practitioner, I would like to hold you accountable to helping your clients to be as independent and as empowered with their own divine higher self and their own divine guidance as possible. And so one of the ways that I do that is when I see that a client is starting to call what I call too often. For me, it used to be once every 6 months, and then my guides changed it about 10 years ago to once every 3 months. And now on occasion, if somebody calls once a month, they will do that, but it needs to be a question that's not the same as any of the other questions that they've asked. They really want them to take the information and use it and take it into their life and transform their life. And not, I don't want to feel like I'm a crutch to somebody. I want to feel that I'm helping them. Sort of how a physical therapist helps somebody who has a weakened muscle system. They give them exercises to go out and get strong and get back on their feet. That's what we're here for. We're not here to be the crutch for them and to make the decisions for them. We are here to help them to make their decisions and go out into the world and be more confident and happy and free. So again, you're going to have to really tune in. This is a case-by-case basis. Please don't take a client just because they call you if you feel that it's really not been enough time that has passed for them to even implement the information that you've given them. Give them time to absorb it and to work with it and to make those necessary changes and shifts. This gentleman has actually passed to the other side, Ralph D. Jordan, and he wrote a wonderful book called Psychic Counselor's Handbook, Ethics, Tools, and Techniques. And I wish that I could share it with you. I have ordered the book to have on hand. He says ethics is a vast subject of not only procedure, but also of discipline, and also most definitely an expression, a way of life. So this is a psychic teacher who was able to put his information into a book and really bring out, I thought, the best in his students and in the work that he's doing. So I do highly recommend this book. And it's really about embodying that ethical behavior into your life, not just into a 1-hour session here. I'm going to be very centered, meditative, focused, but bringing that energy out into your whole life of listening to your guides and being in tune. So these are some of the motivators that lead to unethical practices, and these are more lower chakra. If you think about the 7 chakras, which we discussed, you know, starting at the base, and power, sex, money, and greed, and fame. These are often the things that will bring a really beautiful young psychic or pure psychic kind of fall. In Maui, we say stay in the canoe. We have these big, long canoes, and you paddle and you paddle, and you stay upright in the canoe, and that means you're staying on your path and you're staying focused. The power, sex, money, and greed, those are the things that throw you out of your canoe, and you're kind of flailing around in the ocean, and you're not connected, and you're not on purpose, and you're not on path. And they may be very, very subtle. As you get more and more well-known as a psychic and more people come to you and you get recognized more and more, there could be the possibility of that fame coming up, or that sense of money and greed. Okay, yeah, I'll do that TV show, or or even this one here about sex of, once your light gets really big and bright, people are going to be more attracted to you. And if you happen to be single, or if you happen to be married and people are attracted to you, and you're bringing that energy from the higher chakra into the lower chakra of the sexuality realm, that's a real disservice for your client. So, and power, as a psychic, a lot of power is attributed to you, certainly in a person making decisions in their life, and you have to yield that power with a sense of compassion and love. With great power comes great responsibility. So generally clients seek psychic counsel when they are in trying situations and they feel confused and perhaps vulnerable. And so you're there to help them to move out of confusion, to move into empowerment, and to be able to deal with whatever situation is really challenging them right now. The psychic practitioner is viewed as an authority, and the client may defer their own inner guidance to that of the psychic. So you want to make sure you're really tuned into your higher self when you're doing these sessions, because it is a tremendous responsibility to give guidance about a person's intimate details of their life, whether it's their relationship, their health, their career, their finances, their spiritual path, messages from loved ones on the other side. These are all very, very sensitive subjects, and you want to make sure that your power, that sense of being empowered, that you're using it in a very humble and compassionate way. Here's a guy, he's got the little devil on one side and the little angel on the other. So the psychic's job is to help the client embody their best self and not listen to the devil's self, but listen to the voice of what is the higher path. This is in keeping in alignment with the higher realms, where the divine beings of light, guides, and angels, they are here to assist individuals on their soul's path to become their highest, most magnificent selves. So when somebody comes to you for a reading, the truth is oftentimes they already know their answers, but they don't want to listen and they don't want to hear it. And they're coming to you to be reminded, really on a deep soul level, of what they already know, but they may have forgotten. So we're helping them to remember their soul's path. So I would suggest never having sex with a client. I've done a little more research on this, and then one practitioner recommended to me that, well, if a year has passed between when you've actually had the appointment with the client and then you set up, sort of an interpersonal date thing, and it ends up leading to sex, that's considered to be okay. Now, I think you're going to have to find out for yourself what really feels right for you. I think it muddies the waters when you bring that kind of energy in. It destroys the professional relationship. It may trigger emotional attachment, and it really may undermine the purity of the psychic transmission. And oftentimes, what happens is you will end up losing a client because it's just so awkward. You could have seen that client maybe once a year for the next 10 years, or twice a year for the next 10 years. And if you end up sleeping with them, you're going to lose them as a client. It doesn't usually work out. So I would recommend not sleeping with any of your clients. I know as massage therapists and psychotherapists and, other professional realms that they have strict rules about this, but I would like to suggest that you do not, and that you keep those realms separate. Here's another motivator that could lead to unethical practices: money and greed. Money and greed. If you're charging, people get to be well known and they end up charging, exorbitant amounts of money for a session that maybe 5 years ago they were charging $200, and then they end up charging $700 or $1,000 or whatever it is. Really feel in your heart. Really feel in your heart. What is it in your highest and best interest to charge? And I know there is a gentleman, Dr. John D. Martini, and he says you charge according to your self-esteem. But I think there's also a fine line between your self-esteem, feeling good about what you're doing, and making yourself available to other people. The other thing is, if you're booking too many sessions with one client, that's that dependency thing that I was talking about, and I want you to really look at that. Are you really assisting them in getting more functional in their life and getting more connected to their higher self, or are they building a dependency on you and on your guides? And then this last one is booking more sessions than you can energetically do well. And this is going to be different on different days. So, and also different times of day. If your best time to do readings is in the morning, and you're booking sessions at night because that's the only time that people can do them, but you're really not able to give your best session, might be better for you to refer those clients out to another psychic who really, really likes to work at night, because some people, that's their productive time, maybe not for you. So you really want to look at what is your intent there and work with that. So what energetically, can you do 2 sessions a day really, really, really good? Can you do 4 sessions really, really good? If you're getting beyond 4 sessions, that's a lot of energy to deal with, and some people can do it. I would question 4 one-hour sessions would be a lot. So what really feels good for you to do your very, very, very best, just as each session was your one and only session that day. And sometimes you may have to take a week off just because you've put out so much energy and you just need to kind of regroup, regather, recenter, get grounded and rooted and connect up again, and then start over. So you have to listen inside to when you can do those. And if you're not feeling up for doing a session and you do it anyway, you're only doing them a disservice. It's better to reschedule if you're really emotionally distraught or upset about something, or you're physically ill and you have a session scheduled. Better to cancel and reschedule and give them a refund if you need to, than to do the session and not do your best. Fame. This is also a motivator for doing psychic readings and seeking notoriety for your session by not respecting the client's confidentiality. So, for example, doing a reading for a famous person and promoting your psychic business using their name without their permission. This is not okay. And I know that's how a lot of psychics build up their businesses. They say, psychic to the stars, psychic to the stars. It's really not your place unless you have specific permission from that person who, even though they're a star, they still have feelings, they still have personal lives that they want to keep as private as they can, which is challenging. I mean, they're in the magazines, they're all over the television. It's very, very difficult for people with a high profile to find a psychic who will keep it on the down low so that they can share and feel comfortable looking at some of their issues. Again, we all have blind spots, and they do too, and they just need somebody to come to that they can put aside their fame, and they can just be with you in a very humble, open, vulnerable space and know that everything that they're saying is confidential. So please don't ever use, anybody who comes to you that has a big name to put their name out there unless you've asked them, is it okay? I had a radio show. I had a lot of big names on my radio show, and I asked, is it okay for me to put a link on my website with your radio show? And I got yeses. So that's different. It's not okay if you don't get permission. Do not do that. That is unethical. Now we're going to look at the review, just a quick review, because this is class 20, and we've gone through 19 classes in order to get here. So in this picture, we have a woman sitting, and she's meditating, and she's connecting with her divine higher self. So to be a quality psychic practitioner, it does take time, commitment, and discipline. We've already seen that if you've done the classes up till now. There's a lot of homework, there's a lot of reading, there's a lot of meditation exercises, channeling exercises, journaling exercises. There's a lot of work that goes into being a quality psychic. And you want to keep an attitude of loving service and humility. Humility is a humbleness, that how grateful you are that you can do this work, how grateful you are that you can be a vehicle to help others. So this has just been a review again. You want to be free of alcohol and drugs. You want to meditate every day, do your inner healing work, strengthen your connection to your guides, higher self, and angelic helpers. So this is really the most important things that you can do. And all the other things I'm going to give you on top of that are to help to strengthen you, these areas. So in there's 4 levels. The first level is the beginner level, how to listen to your intuition and guides. The second level is techniques and tools to clarify the messages. The third level is deepening your connection and finding your unique reading style. That's the advanced intermediate. Second is intermediate. And then you have the 4th level, which is advanced, being a professional psychic practitioner. So again, in the beginning, it's about rooting and grounding, meditating, drinking lots of water, sending your light up, connecting with that infinity loop. Remember we had that infinity loop where we connected up, and getting really strong in your inner connection. So here's a review of level 1, how to listen to your intuition and your guides. We went over preparing yourself and your space to open up psychically. Remember we talked about making an altar, we talked about walking every day, drinking lots of water, spraying a little rose or having some sage. Then we focused on connecting with your guides and higher self and getting a sign. That once you get a sign, then you work with making that sign stronger and connecting in. Integrating the parts of the self and aligning oneself to channel. So that's really about incorporating all the different parts of yourself and getting them all on board so that you are open and ready to channel. And then receiving messages from your divine higher self through the dimensions. We did past life, future life. You've had many, many, many lifetimes, I'm sure, where you worked as a psychic or psychic healer and intuitive. So we tapped into some of that to help you to access those gifts and abilities and bring them through. We worked with balancing the left and the right brain. Remember, that's the masculine and the feminine parts of the self, so that when you receive the information, you can also transmit it out. Receiving and transmitting together, both. So this is just a reminder for the first class to set aside time, the first level, every day to meditate and channel. To read the channeling book, this is Opening to Channel by Sanaya Roman. Again, there's many books on channeling, but honestly, I have to say I think this is the best one. It's the most concise. It's answers tons of those little questions. Really a very, very good book. I highly recommend it. You want to create an altar in your home where you can sit and bring yourself and invite your guides in. You want to walk every day if you can. Remember, if you cannot walk, you can do yoga or stretch, but you want to get present in your body. If you have arthritis, it might mean getting into a tub of Epsom salt and feeling your body and getting really present. And then you can see in this other picture the brain lighting up. These are the areas of the brain that we're lighting up when we channel and when we meditate. We're actually activating different areas of the brain and getting them to work so that we can bring through the psychic information. And I want to encourage you to keep a journal. Always keep a journal. So the second level is the beginner intermediate techniques and tools to clarify the messages. We went through learning about chakra balancing and clearing and cord cutting. This is the important part here, is about keeping your space clean and clear. The clearer and cleaner you keep your aura and your chakras, the better psychic you will be. So you are responsible for your psychic space. Nobody else is responsible for your psychic space and how you feel. Auras can be kind of like Velcro, and if you don't want to take on people's stuff, there are certain things that you need to do, which we talked about in that earlier class, those earlier classes, 6 and 7, about keeping your aura really shiny clean so that you can bring through these higher frequencies. We worked about clarifying messages through using your body. Remember I said the body is the best tool for psychic awareness, so we worked with that. And we also looked at the healthy inner child. I told you, I said, the seat of intuition is your healthy inner child. So if your inner child hasn't had any time to play or any time to relax or any time to be spontaneous, and then you try to make yourself psychic, but you haven't had that flow, that feeling of flow and in the moment and openness, it's going to be very difficult. So you have to do some inner child psychic healing work and opening your intuitive knowing. And then working with specific symbols. This was a very intricate class dealing with how do you get specific symbols and pictures in conjunction with your guides and higher self, and how do you work with those so that you have developed a whole symbolic library of working with your guides so that the two of you can be in unison together and you can be the best psychic you can be, bringing out all of that information. So here's some pictures to go with that. Doing the inner work. Here's an inner child. She's happy and healthy. That's how your inner child needs to be. Here's a woman whose aura is very, very bright. Green, yellow, blue, very bright aura. And I do recommend if you can get one of those aura photographs. They're really fun. Then we have the chakra angel over here on the left. And that angel her chakras are all in alignment and they're very bright. And they're vibrating in a nice frequency. Then we have symbols in perfect balance. That's working with symbols, working with symbols. What are the symbols that you have developed with your guides to communicate with them in terms of the information? When they want to give you information, how do you connect with them and what do they say so that you know how to give the message out? Level 3 is the intermediate level, and that's deepening your connection and developing your own unique reading style. So this is integrating healing into your psychic session and learning how to combine all your psychic abilities, the clairsentience, clairvoyance, telepathy, mediumship, and healing, bringing all of these aspects into your session so that you're really working on many multidimensional levels all at the same time. You're sort of multitasking. You're receiving information through all these different avenues and putting it out there towards your client. And deepening the trance state. In that class, we included a lot of work with working with loved ones on the other side, working with beings on the other side, going into a very deeply relaxed state, and connecting with the other dimensions as well. And connecting with your guides, of course. And then class 14 was about using divination tools. And we went over, I think, 10 or 11 different divination tools that you could use in your practice if you wish, or even just to get you to a place of feeling strong and comfortable enough ready to do the readings on your own. And then class 15 was about clearing away blocks and fears. Fears and blocks to successfully follow your intuitive knowing. And we looked at how can we get beyond those fears and blocks, how can we embody our higher selves, and how can we, fear is forgetting everything's all right. And so we want to move into a frequency of remembering that everything's all right and lifting beyond the fears so that we can be courageous. I think it takes a really courageous person to be a psychic in the world today and to bring your gifts out. And I know that's why you're here, because you have that. You have that capacity and you have that ability. So here's just a few pictorial reminders of the last slide that you're going to heal and feel and deepen and release all fear. So the first picture again is the higher self, the guide, the angel, holding in love as this person receives the light. The picture next to that is an individual with his arms out, moving into the light, that we can visit other dimensions and we can let go of the fears of this dimension and tap into those other dimensions and bring those teachings back. The lower picture is a picture of many different psychic tools that could be employed in terms of sessions, everything from runes and tarot cards to pendulum and stones. And then the fourth picture is a psychic healing session. We talked about many different ways of doing psychic healing sessions, either on a table or remotely or with the individual, or working with stones, working with sound. So I'd encourage you to review that class as well. And then the final level, we really packed it in with becoming a professional psychic practitioner, doing readings at fairs, events, parties, and other venues, or doing psychic readings via the phone, Skype, internet, radio, and television. So that class was very, very full. Developing a business plan and a marketing plan. Remember, you can go back to all of these webinars once you've registered them. They're available to you. You can pull that information out. You can go to those websites. You can do the homework assignments, and you can indeed build your practice step by step by step. And we also did the internet and social marketing media for your business, and that was really fun. That was our class last week, and we did, oh my goodness, we covered so much ground that you may still have questions, but I'm guessing you don't have very many because we covered so much territory with that. And now this week we're doing being an ethical psychic practitioner, and I just want to remind you that it all comes back to your heart and what you're doing in your heart. Are you being loving? Are you being open? Are you being kind? Be the psychic that demonstrates quality, caring, and clarity. Be that psychic. Be the psychic that you would want to meet. So the first picture is a psychic fair. Do readings at fairs, do readings at events, do readings at fundraisers, do readings at people's houses, do readings at retreat centers. Get yourself out there in the world and get going. You can do readings as the second picture. You can do them over the internet and do a class. You can do private readings that way. You can do couples. You can do Skype readings. It's a great way to connect. The third picture is about building a creative business plan. And I think when you work as a psychic and a healer, you have to put a little creativity in your plan. Otherwise, it's just going to seem too dry and you're not going to be motivated to do it. So what makes it fun to think about being a psychic practitioner? What's a fun way that you can look at that and bring that out in life? And then the picture of the globe over here, that's about connecting interglobally, that you're bringing your teachings out not just to your immediate audience here where you live in that community or the state, but you're actually putting yourself out there to the world. And then the final picture is about ethics. That's our class today, that we are here to focus on the very highest and best career that you can have as a psychic practitioner. All right, we are going to do a guided meditation, and I want to invite you to, wherever you're sitting, to just get really, really comfortable. See if you need to adjust the fan or any sounds around you or anything at all. And look at this picture before you close your eyes, because these angels, there's an empty spot in that circle. That's your spot. That is your special spot. So just as you're sitting here, imagine your hands going out. And in your right hand, you're holding that one angel's hand. And in your left hand, you're holding the other angel's hand. And you're in this amazing circle. And in the center of the circle, there's a light. It's a beautiful, beautiful white light in the center of the circle. And hold that light. And let the light just pulse. And let it get bigger. So that that light that's in the center of the circle gets bigger as each of you look at it, until it reaches and touches each of you in the circle. All these angels are being just shimmering, shining light, shining on you. And then feel the shimmering and shining light actually surrounding each of you and connecting, so that now you're in a sphere or a bubble of light. And nothing but light can come to you, and nothing but light can be here. Now, as you hold the hands of these angels, you hear a little buzz, and the little buzz kind of goes like this. And as you hear that buzz, you feel the energy of all these angels, and you feel yourself lifting up with them. It feels as though you're lifting up out of your physical body and up to the top of the room, and then up through the roof of the room and into the sky. And just feel yourself floating with this circle of angels. And as you're floating, you hear the sound, ah. And you feel your heart opening. Ah is the sound of the heart. And your heart is beginning to get very, very tender and very, very soft. And it just feels so good to be floating in this place of wholeness. And as you're floating with this circle of 6 angels, and you're the 7th angel, you hear a little choir of other angels singing. And it's as though they're playing their harps and their little soft tunes. And they're welcoming you almost the same as if you were getting married and you were walking down the aisle and there would be the tune, Here Comes the Bride. But this is the tune, Here comes the one, here comes the one, here comes the one. Time has begun. It's time for you to begin your work as a light worker in the world. And they're excited, and they are here to greet you. So these beings of light, you're traveling with them. You're traveling through time and through space and through many, many dimensions. And they're going to bring you to the Hall of Angels. So just let them carry you there, and you're going to arrive at this beautiful, beautiful structure. It's really quite exquisite. And you're going to notice the outside of the structure and the architecture. And it's very large and quite regal. And I want you to go up to the steps and go inside. And inside the structure, there's a pool in the very center. It's a beautiful blue pool. It's just turquoise blue, and it smells like roses. It's really a wonderful, wonderful place. And all around the pool, there's angels standing, and you can just see the light. And the angels have brought you here, for this is a place for refreshment and washing away any of the tiredness or weariness of the world. And as you go over to the pool and the angels let go of your hands, you feel this one angel helping you to take off your uniform of life, whatever you're wearing, and to put on you a very light robe. It feels like an energetic light robe. And as you put this light robe on, you can feel your body starting to resonate. If you've ever laid on one of those magnetic tables, it feels kind of like that, but it's very light and shimmery. But you can feel the cells in your body starting to wake up, that this robe is actually activating the life force in your body. So as you stand there at the side of the pool with all of these angels, and they're all just beaming these really, really big smiles at you, because they know that sometimes when you are on Earth, you get a little dusty, and you get a little bruised, and you get a little knocked around by life, and you might need a tune-up, and they are here to do that tune-up. So just let them. You feel them coming over, and you feel one angel kind of brushing your hair, and you feel two angels massaging your hands, and you're just letting that happen. You're just letting these angels open up your hand chakras as they're massaging you, and this other angel's brushing your hair, and you feel your crown chakra opening up as they're brushing your hair, and you feel another angel standing behind you and massaging your shoulders, and you feel your shoulders just dropping and letting go of all the perceived responsibility that you have to carry, that it's just being taken from your shoulders right now, and you can just be there in the presence, be there in that moment, letting your shoulders relax, letting your neck relax, feeling your neck get softer and softer, and feeling the life force energy moving through your body more and more and more. And then this one angel beckons to you. They sort of bring their hand down and they point to the steps. There's these beautiful steps that go into the pool very easy, like a very gentle slope downward into the pool. And so you feel very comfortable in just taking off your special robe of light that has all the energy in it, and you just stand in front of this pool. And it looks so inviting. It's the absolute perfect temperature. So you take a step into the first step, and you feel your feet beginning to just dissolve into light. And it feels so good. You go a step deeper, and then your knees and your shins and your calves, they all dissolve into light. And it feels kind of unusual, but you like it. Because it feels very light. And then you step in deeper, and your knees are disappearing into light, and your thighs and your hips, and then the water's right up to your waist, and you can feel your solidness from the waist up, but from the waist down, it just feels as though you're space and light vibrating, and you're not even missing that physical part of your being, because now you're so connected to your inner self. You're completely connected to your divine higher self. And then you feel the water coming up to your chest. And you feel your body opening to the divine, opening to love, opening your heart, this present moment. and your heart is just pulsating with love. Just a big heartbeat pulsating. And then the water's all the way up to your neck. And it feels so good to stretch and bend your head and your neck. And then you decide you're ready to just dive, just like a dolphin, down into the water. You're at the bottom step. So you kind of leap up and then go down into the water. And you can feel the water washing away. This is incredibly magical, mystical water. And it's washing away all tiredness. It's washing away all tension. It's washing away all thoughts. It's just washing everything away so that you can swim in your light body in this beautiful big pool with the skylights up above, with the light beaming in, with a rainbow, with the smell of roses, and the beautiful, beautiful, on each corner of the pool is a huge crystal. And each crystal is amplifying and magnifying the energy that's coming down from above. And it just feels so really special and sacred to be in this pool in your light body with your other body that's dissolved all around you. So just allow yourself to be in that water, to be one with the water, your light essence. And now as you're focusing on your light essence, I want you to bring your awareness of your physical body back as you're swimming and feel your feet and your legs, your knees, your thighs, your hips, your back, your shoulders, your chest, your tummy, your neck, your head, all the way up to the top of your head. And just feel your body filled with light and how good that feels to have a body that is filled with light, that's just radiating with light. And now I want you to swim over to those stairs and to start getting up, stepping on the stairs. And as you step on each step, you feel your physical body coming back, but it feels lighter and more refreshed and vitalized. And standing right at the top of the stairs with a beautiful little crystal table, there's an angel, and she's got a huge pitcher of fresh, pure, clear water for you. And she's pouring you a goblet of water. And she hands you the goblet of water, and she says, drink of these waters. Let it nourish you. Let it fill you. Let it energize you so you can go forth and do your work in the world. And you can feel as you drink this water that it's clearing away any fears, any blocks, any residual energy that may have been holding you back from being all you could be, from being the very best psychic that you can be. It's just washing that all away. It's neutralizing and shedding any negativity. And feel yourself beginning to smile. A wonderful smile of, I remember I have these gifts. I remember I have all these angels around me to help me. I remember. And just bring that awareness in. Feel yourself smiling. And then step back out of the building and onto the steps, and walking back and coming back into your physical body right here, right now, with a wonderful feeling of being refreshed and revitalized and filled with light and love. And there's a sense of laughter. It's almost as though swimming in that pool and drinking that fresh water has reignited your inner self, your inner delight, your inner excitement, your inner enthusiasm, and you're ready to go out into the world and use these gifts. And you're ready because you feel so strong in yourself. There's this feeling of you're invincible to anything negative, that you just have so much light coursing through your body that you know you're just going to see the best and know the best and share the best, and that you can feel all of these guides and angels around your crown chakra just offering you gifts, gifts of patience, gifts of wisdom, gifts of insight, gifts of understanding, gifts of love, just offering you more and more and more gifts. And just feel yourself opening to receive these gifts so that you can bring them out into the world in a very, very big and profound way. And give great, great thanks. And then when you're ready, I'd like you to bring all of your awareness back into the room where you're sitting. And you might even want to rub your feet along the floor, pat your legs, pat your body, your arms, your face, your head. You could put your thumbs in your hands like this. Squeeze so you get more centered in yourself. Put your fingertips together over your heart like this. And then placing your hands one down and one up, creating a circle of energy that goes around, letting go of the hands of the angels and being right here, right now, present, energized, and aware. Alrighty. So you are ready to go out and be a professional psychic with a very high level of ethics. Let's see what else information I have for you. So these three psychics I consider to be highly reputable, of pure heart and pure intention, and they're not in it for the money. They're in it for the service that they do. They're in it for the lives that they touch, the healings that happen, the insights that come. Doreen Virtue, Tara Sonora, and Raja Agni. Raja Agni is actually on the island of Maui. Tara Sonora is in Sedona. And Doreen Virtue, actually, she just moved to Maui not that long ago also, so she's here as well. So you can go to their websites and check them out. Read some of their information or visit their schools or temples or retreat centers or healing centers. I think it's important as you're growing and developing that you meet other psychics that you respect, that you honor, that you admire, and that you would maybe want to be a mentor and that you would want to learn from and that you would want to model yourself after. The ethics of being psychic, this is a YouTube video. Honestly, there was not much available in terms of being an ethical psychic. It's not a very talked about subject. I think, you know, sometimes some of the other negative aspects of being a psychic are talked about, the unethical aspects. But being an ethical psychic, you can go to this website, the YouTube video, and watch Gemma Deller talk about the ethics of being psychic. I did find some good books, though. Here's the one on the end on the right, Psychic Counselor and Handbook, I consider to be the best, but there are these other books as well. The first one's actually a DVD, so just pay attention to that. That's the Holistic Highway to Wisdom, Ethics of Modern Day Psychics. It's a DVD series, and you don't have to buy all the DVDs together. You can actually choose which one you want. So I would recommend that. And then the second book is Ethics of a Psychic for Psychic Readings, a guide for professional and amateur. So that would be also a good resource for you by Suzanne Noonan. And then Ethical Marketing and the New Consumer. That's this third book here. I recommend that one. So you might need to order them on your Kindle or through Amazon.com. You can have them delivered or whatever other electronic means that you have for getting them. Some of them are not electronic because they're too old. But this one book, The Psychic Counselor's Handbook, although it's older, I still found it to be really, really valuable. It's kind of like that. When information is truth, it lasts. It doesn't get as dated as information that's not really pure. So for your homework today, I want you to continue practice doing psychic readings, and maybe you're ready to actually go out into the world and set up your psychic business and to claim your place among the other psychics. So I want you to continue journaling, that sometimes issues or fears will come up, and if you write about them and talk to your higher self, you will be able to clear and heal so that you can be working out there in the world. Would like you to continue meditating at least 20 minutes a day. That's really, really very minimal. It's a very teeny tiny slot out of the whole entire day. And to walk every day. That's for grounding yourself, getting rooted and grounded, so that the more connected the lower chakras are, the higher connected you can be up above. So you're connecting up all of your chakras. Drinking plenty of water every day. Remember, your body is made of water. When you drink lots of water, it makes your psychic abilities even stronger, even clearer, even better. And I'd like to ask you to each say a daily prayer to attract the most perfect clients for you. That ask your angels to bring those people that are most going to benefit from your services and that you will most benefit from helping, so that it's a win-win, that it feels as though it's a mutually beneficial situation. So today, in summary, we reviewed the homework, we answered some questions, we learned about being an ethical psychic practitioner, we did a guided meditation, and now we have some homework suggestions. And Edgar Casey, he was called the Sleeping Prophet, and he was one of those very deep trance channels. And his quote is, "Each soul enters with a mission. We all have a mission to perform. We all have a mission to perform." So if being a psychic is your mission and that's part of it, I want to encourage you on your path. I want to encourage you to ask your guides and angels and higher self to bring to you the teacher that is most suited for where you are and that can bring you to your next level and that you can really trust and open to and share with and that you can grow from, but that you do perform your mission. So in conclusion, your greatest asset in life is yourself and your psychic sensitivity. And some people still, they feel like, I'm too psychic, I'm too sensitive, it's too hard. I'm hoping through these 20 classes that you are now really appreciating how great it is to be a psychic, how wonderful that gift is, and how you can use it for good in the world and in a positive way. And to feel lucky, to feel how lucky you are to have been chosen to work as a psychic. Not that many people are really chosen to do this as their life path. So there'll be times when you might question. Those are the times you need to go inside more, meditate more, connect more, pray more, get humble, open. Be the psychic that you would wish to meet. So if you don't know any really good psychics that you would refer your friends to, be the best psychic that you would refer your best friend to you, because you know you love your friend and you would want to do the very best. And that you'd want to get a reading from yourself. And that's actually a really good indicator. If you write questions down and you ask your guides and your higher self and you trust the answers, that's a really good sign that what you're doing is on the right path. Embody the best qualities of the most outstanding psychic you can ever imagine. So think of all the psychics that you know and what's really best about all of them, and feel yourself embodying that in yourself. That rooted and grounded and loving and clear and concise and accurate and powerful, humble psychic. Believe in yourself and believe in your gifts. Give yourself permission to be seen as a psychic and to feel proud of your gifts and offering them to the world. Be of service. The world does need your light. Be humble and loving and grateful, knowing that just the right clients are being drawn to you right now. Just the very right clients. And congratulations, if you have done all 20 classes. This is the final class in this series of Psychic Development and Channeling. And I want to congratulate you and I want to thank you for hanging in there. That was a lot of work. It was a lot of commitment, a lot of dedication, a lot of looking inside, doing the exercises, the meditations, the practices, and congratulations. And as we say in Hawaii, aloha and thank you is actually mahalo. So mahalo, thank you for being here. And aloha, until we meet again, in whatever form that may be, please feel free to call me for follow-up classes. Please feel free to call me for psychic sessions. Please feel free to call me for scheduling group channelings, group classes. And again, as we say in Maui, ahui ho. And that just basically means till we meet again.